Welcome to the Soul Archaeology podcast, a space for connection, resonance, witnessing, and learning. Together we'll harvest medicine from the spiral of life, sharing conversations with other embodied humans who have navigated their own initiations and found alignment with their true soul essence. With weekly astrology, energy updates, embodied conversation, and channeled teachings, this is a space for you to land and find resonance with the spiral of your own soul. Hello, welcome back to Soul Archaeology. We have finally landed back home after our many travels, traveling abroad, traveling within the US, visiting family, friends, celebrating birthdays. And I am landing back home at the perfect time because we are sobering up this week. We are rooting, grounding, organizing, getting an opportunity to really sort through and look at what needs tending, what needs our attention, going back to the basics. I personally feel like when things get really big and wild and chaotic and it's not even just negative, but there's a lot of excitement and adventure and travel and expansion. This has been a really expansive summer. I talk a lot about that in past episodes, how we had a really slow start to the year and then launched into this fast electric summer. And now we're landing on the other side. And I think when things move really quickly and we have all of this change and upheaval and expansion and you're just in it, right? You're just living in it. You're moving through it. Sometimes when things begin to slow down, you're left with a hangover of sorts. And one of the best things we can do on the other side of a major change portal, or even just a time when you've been moving really quickly or moving through a lot or processing a lot and you're not even sure what you've been processing or feeling, but kids are going back to school. We're entering the harvest season. We're beginning to enter a threshold. And we're preparing over the next few weeks for the beginning of eclipse season as well, even on a subconscious level. And this week we have a beautiful gift of a new moon in Virgo. This is a grounding, orienting reset. This is a pocket of opportunity to really get clear, to distill, to recalibrate. And we will be going into all the details of this new moon in Virgo. It is the first of 2 new moons this Virgo season. So we have 2 new moons in Virgo this season, bookending Virgo season. And I'll talk all about that. But I wanted to first talk about my North and South Node course called Inner Compass. This course is 10% off for the next few weeks through the end of August. Just for podcast listeners, you can use the code NORTH to receive 10% off. This has been such a long time coming. The North and South Node are points within the chart that I think are keys to unlocking so much valuable and nutrient-dense medicine and information about who you are, why you're here, what you're here to learn, what you're here to lean into, what you're here to release. Astrology can be overwhelming. There's so many different layers. I always say it's like this layered lasagna. It's not linear in that way, but it's so multidimensional, and there's so many different parts to understand and to really digest. And I do believe that the North and South Node are points that are really helpful in understanding, like I said, who you are, why you're here, what you're here to really integrate, to heal, to move through, to expand beyond. And if you can understand those points, everything else begins to make more sense. And I do think that they influence the rest of your chart in such a powerful, impactful way. But even if you can just focus on the North and South node, you will undoubtedly really understand yourself better and understand what you're meant to be focusing on during this time. We are also entering eclipse season, which I think is a really powerful time to tend your North and South node, because eclipses operate from North and South node points. So the North and South node determine, the transiting North and South node determine the eclipses. So we're going to be in big nodal energy over the next month and a half when you can understand your own experience in a deeper way. It's easier to understand the collective experience. And when you can really understand your own personal, unique blueprint and guide, then you can sort of turn down the rest of the noise. I feel like we're inundated with a million different ways that we could be doing better, taking supplements, trying this workout, working with this modality. And it's so overwhelming because at the end of the day, we're all completely different and 100% unique. And so it's nice to just understand how you're wired. And this course really goes into that. It gives you very actionable tools and resources to begin to rewire what's needing your attention and to really lean into these points of expansion or these opportunities to really grow and evolve in this time. So this course is self-guided. It is 10% off through August. You can use the code NORTH. That's just for my podcast listeners. It's also helpful to not only understand yourself in a deeper way, but partners, friends, family. When I understood all of my people's North and South node, it just brought so much compassion to each and every relationship because I could understand them on a deeper level and why they do what they do and where there are sort of pockets of opportunity for me to relate to them in a different way. So this course has been a long time coming, and I'm so grateful that it's here. And I've gotten so much beautiful feedback from people who've moved through it. And it's something you can navigate really forever because it is a guide that never expires. It will always be your North and South node. So it is a travel companion through this lifetime. And funny enough, my South node is Virgo. So I am in this work with you. Let me tell you, I'm doing the South node work, and we have the transiting South node in Virgo. So I am personally in my nodal return. I talked about that in past episodes, especially the episode talking about, loss and my 12th house and what it's like to have a South node conjunct Venus, how much loss is woven into the relationships that I have experienced in this lifetime, and leaving behind these sneaky control mechanisms that are built within me, and how confronting it can be to have a South node in Virgo. But I do think that, when we understand our North and South node, we can also relate that to the transits that happen now as well. So I know my South node is in Virgo, my Venus is in Virgo. So this new moon is going to be activating that part of my chart. There's going to be very karmic recalibrations happening, especially with Uranus in the mix this week. So I am going back to basics. Personally, I'm a Sag moon. I need adventure. I need travel. I need expansion in my life where things start to feel a little stagnant, a little stale, a little tight. But I also love simplicity and earthing, grounding, organization. And because I know we are headed into a big eclipse season, I am utilizing the medicine of this new moon in Virgo this week, to reorganize, to ground, to land, to sort through what I have control over, which is my choices, my routines, my devotion, the practical items that I can control on a daily basis that feel good and nourishing, and how I'm feeding myself, what I'm inputting every single day. And I think when things feel really chaotic or big or expansive, we go back to what we know, what we can control, what's right in front of us, what's within and existing on this physical plane. And that is the medicine of this week. Last week was a little weird. The last few weeks have been a little weird. They've been really deep portals of heart work. It's been amazing to see just how connected I am on the other side of these waves of integrating what we've processed over the last few months. We are leaving behind Leo season this week. Leo season has been big, it's been expansive, it's been loud, it's been deep and penetrating. We've had to navigate the heart wall work. We've had to tend to our fears of being seen, our fear of expression, our fear of the fears really keeping us small and tight and boxed. There's been a lot of reckoning with that Mercury retrograde, especially with its opposition to Pluto last week. Confronting conversations, looking at what's not working within our relationships, the ego. Leo season's been dynamic as it always is. And now we are entering this time of sobering, landing, reorienting, tending to the practical pieces and parts we need to sort through in order to enter the threshold into eclipse season, in order to enter and cross into a new season once Libra season begins and we enter the vernal equinox, autumn. So on August 22nd, we have Virgo season beginning. And right after that, while the sun is still at 0 degrees, we have a new moon in Virgo. And like I said, this is one of 2 new moons this Virgo season. So on August 23rd, we have a new moon in Virgo. It's actually right at the threshold, so it's technically August 22nd here in LA because it's at 11:06 p.m. Pacific on August 22nd. It's at 2:06 a.m. Eastern. So we have this threshold moon, and it is a threshold moon. The new moon in Virgo, we have at 11:06 p.m. Pacific on August 22nd, is at 0 degrees of Virgo. So it's a threshold moon. Virgo is a mutable earth sign. It's malleable. It's changeable. It's the in-between. It's where things are fluid, where they move. Change is inevitable with a mutable sign. In the sign of Virgo, we land in the physical. It deals with detail, discernment, organization. Virgo is the sacred weaver. It's the one who tends to the threads of the body, the daily rituals, and the systems that keep life in harmony. And Virgo teaches us devotion through the details. How we care for our bodies, our container, our work, the land, one another. It deals with detail, discernment, organization. It tends to the physical. It rules organization, daily tasks, physical self-care, cleansing, sorting, attention to detail, practicality. It deals with service to others and purpose. Virgo is healing embodied. The axis of Virgo and Pisces is the healer. Pisces is more energetic, spiritual healing. Virgo is physical healing. It's the container that we know we must tend to and care for in order for all the other healing to unfold and take place. Pisces is the quote unquote fun healing. It's where we get to escape, where we get to astral travel, where we get to leave our bodies and move beyond. It's where we get to play and create and explore. Virgo is what we need to tend to in order for that to take place and actually create healing. That's why I say this is a sobering moon. It's bringing us back to reality. I think Virgo is one of the most beautiful signs of the zodiac because it's connected to duty and purpose and service and purity. It distills to find truth, clarity, realism. It's looking for what's actually true and real and authentic. Pisces can be so unformed, so vast and expansive that the medicine of Virgo is providing a container for that, providing health and wellness, home, belonging, a body to navigate those spaces. And the truth is we are in human form on this planet at this time, which means we have to tend to the physical. And it is just as important as tending to the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the energetic. When we're in that vast space of expansion or growth, when we're feeling overwhelmed, what is the medicine? Returning back to the basics, routines, practices, rituals, self-care, cleaning and organizing. I don't know about you, but when I am stressed, I start cleaning. It's just sort of a South Node in Virgo wiring. It's a part of my self-care. When things are chaotic, when things feel messy, I just need to utilize cleaning, a clean space, an organized space as a resource. And I think as humans, we are receiving more and more and more and more data, more information, more stimuli than ever before. And it can be incredibly overwhelming. We know way too much. We're taking in too much information. We know things about the other side of the world that we don't have the capacity for actually processing and being with. And our bodies are built for a different time. They're built for a time when we knew exactly what was going on within a 50-mile radius. We knew what we were growing in our garden. We knew what our daily tasks and routines and chores were. We knew what our purpose was. We had clarity, vision, direction. I'm not saying that's right or wrong or that's what we need now necessarily, but we have to acknowledge that our biology is built for that. It's built for those times when we woke up every single morning knowing exactly what we needed to tend to that day. Of course, we would get curveballs. There would be a frost or an illness or something could happen, of course, but we knew what these grounding, rooting, anchoring daily tasks and routines were. And it was healthy. It was healthy to be connected to something. It was healthy to have structure and direction and purpose. But now we have more choices than ever before. We can choose any path we want. We can live anywhere in the world we want for the most part. We live in a culture where everything is possible. You can order anything you want to eat from a little box in your hand. And we struggle to find purpose, to find happiness, to find joy. Maybe you don't, but I'm sure you know someone who does. So Virgo asks, what are you serving? Who are you serving? What are you in devotion to? The answer lies in what you're choosing every day. And this is the confronting truth of Virgo season, is that we are always choosing and creating our reality. Of course, it's from an unconscious space, but we're still choosing it. And we're serving that. We're in devotion to what we're choosing every day. So I ask you, what are you in devotion to? Is it fear of the future? Is it social media? What are you giving your power to, your attention to? That is what you're serving. And Virgo wants to be of service. It wants truth and clarity and reality. It wants to feel like it's grounded and anchored into something that's true, real and tactile. Even though things change all the time, even though nothing's fixed, right? What choice do you make the minute you wake up? Are you reaching for your phone, or are you taking a moment to check in and say, what do I need today? What do your practices, routines, rituals look like? I don't They don't need to be elaborate or overwhelming. What are you choosing? When we can distill things down into very simple, practical, digestible pieces like choices, routines, rituals, it somehow balances the overwhelm of the bigger life choices like where are you living? Who are you in relationship with? What is your purpose? What work are you doing? What is the meaning of life, right? These big questions that we're being quite literally faced with on the daily, inundated with this mental, emotional, psychic stimuli all the time. These are the confronting realities of now, of being human on this planet. How do we manage that? Presence. I was visiting a friend this weekend and we were in the garden, her parents' house, and they have this big, beautiful garden. And we were looking at all the plants and picking things and sorting through this bounty of vegetables and herbs. And I was just amazed by the simplicity of this process. Even though it wasn't simple to get there, it wasn't simple to germinate the seeds, plant, water, tend to the garden. It was the most simple and clear and practical thing I had done in so long. And I just realized that that's what my soul is craving. Simplicity, clarity, serving the earth, being in devotion to the soil, to the plants, to the water, to the harvest, the minerals, and the food. And it was just this beautiful metaphor for life. Garden is always the best metaphor for life. It was just so clear that there are things that are ready to be completed. There's new things still emerging. There's a season for everything. And when you let life just speak, when you allow the earth to show you its medicine, when you return to the simple, practical routines and rituals, life becomes a little bit more clear. I'm not saying you need to have a garden in order to harvest medicine from life. I know it's not actually available to everyone, but maybe you could have a pot with an herb, or maybe you could have a daily routine that really anchors and grounds you. Maybe you could devote this week to cleaning up your diet, or really paying attention to what you're consuming, or limiting the amount of time on your phone. But choosing one thing that's nourishing, that's supportive, and devoting your attention and time to it this week, that is the way to align with the energy. So we have this 0-degree new moon in Virgo. It's squaring Uranus and Gemini. So this is a threshold moon. It's a reset. It's a new beginning. It's an opportunity to clear things out, to reset the energy. We have another new moon in Virgo at 29 degrees on September 21st, and that is an eclipse. Our first eclipse is on September 7th. It's a full moon in Pisces, so a lunar eclipse. So this new moon leads us into the eclipse window even more. And like I said, the sun and moon in Virgo are sobering. After all the fun and adventure of the summer, if you're in the northern hemisphere, we are landing back home. We are landing back in our bodies. We are landing in a space where we're sorting through what's unfolded, even just this year. What needs our attention? This brings us back down to earth, back to reality, to tend to what's in front of us. With this squaring to Uranus, this new moon is going to ask for you to make a big change, to revolutionize something, specifically related to work, routines, daily practices, devotion, health, nourishment, truths, awakenings. Virgo is fluid, it's malleable, it's mutable. Uranus is also in a mutable sign as well in Gemini. Uranus reminds us that quantum leaps are possible, that things can shift quickly, that you can one day wake up and choose to operate differently. This 0-degree new moon brings initiatory energy. It begins just a few hours after Virgo season begins, after the sun enters Virgo. It meets immediately with the moon. So this moon is initiatory. It's the very beginning of a new cycle, fresh, unformed, potent, filled with possibility. Virgo teaches us devotion through the details, how we care for our bodies, our work, the land, our community. And this moon is the beginning of a story that will unfold over the next month. This creates a bookend effect, having this 0-degree new moon and a 29-degree new moon on September 21st. So you're opening something new this week. The first new moon, this new moon on the 22nd, initiates the themes, and the eclipse closes and transforms them. And together, they frame Virgo season. This is a portal, a corridor of purification, refinement, and alignment. And this week sets the tone for the rest of Virgo season, for the rest of eclipse season. This is a call to really begin fresh routines, tend to the body, tend to the nervous system, simplify, distill, clear. And Uranus will, of course, remind us this week that we can't control everything, nor are we meant to. That's the shadow of Virgo, is to control in order to feel safe, is to control through fear. In the highest expression, it embraces our ability to choose. It embraces our ability to discern, to create health on the physical plane, to create living systems of care that can also bend and breathe with us, that aren't rigid but loving and supportive. And this is all an experiment, right? The intentions you set now, what you seed now at this new moon will be tested and refined and transformed under these eclipses over the next month. It's not about attachment. It's about presence and really allowing ourselves to be present with what we need right here and now, right now. What would feel supportive? We know we can't control or grip during eclipse season. We can't predict what will happen over the next month. So what needs are tending in order to feel a little bit more safe, a little bit more grounded, secure, cared for as we enter this great portal of change? This 0-degree Virgo new moon is like the threshold before walking into the eclipse corridor. This is a chance to choose consciously. What are the rituals, practices, and mental patterns you want to carry forward? Virgo is about discernment. It's about distillation, finding truth and clarity, separating what heals from what harms, what is useful from the noise. And with these two bookend new moons, we're realizing through this time that refinement of your life is not a one-time act or declaration. It's not static. It's a process of iteration, experimentation. Uranus disrupts patterns. And in Gemini, this disruption really comes through the mind, narratives, communication, media, consumption. So this is an opportunity. We have a new moon that's ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules Virgo. Mercury also rules the mind and communication. So this week will reveal what mental patterns, thought loops, belief systems are no longer serving. What addictive patterns, what default programs are we running? What are we choosing daily to interact with, to devote our time and attention to? We have this sort of tension with Saturn and Neptune and Aries as well. It's sextile Pluto and Uranus. We're learning to hold paradox. How do we be with this fast, changing world? The collective crumbling of systems, ways of being, happening so rapidly while still feeling safe, while still creating structure within our lives. How do we create structure that's flexible, rituals that leave room for aliveness? This week and this new moon is a time to simplify, to choose without attachment, to pay attention to the small details, to pay attention to the signals of the nervous system and the body, to go back to basics. Maybe there was a ritual or practice that you let go of a year ago because you no longer needed it, but you know that it works and you know that it grounds you and roots you and anchors you. Or maybe there's something you've been wanting to try and you're not super attached to it, but you feel like it might be right for this moment. We're quite literally rewiring our collective consciousness. And that's a lot of work. That's really overwhelming. What do we need in this moment to feel some structure within that process? Some sense of grounding or familiarity even. That's the medicine of this new moon. It's an invitation to create new rituals and practices to clear some of the mental clutter. It would probably be a great time to adopt a journaling practice if you don't have one, or to find a way to sort of sort through the noise, the mental noise, the emotional noise, to declutter, to organize, to spend time in nature, to really pay attention to what you're consuming, specifically physically, emotionally, and mentally. Pluto is preparing this out of bounds transit over the next 10 years. It's going to be weaving in and out of its boundaries, which means it's going to behave erratically until 2035. And so we're going to be seeing some pretty profound upheaval and change over the next 10 years. This is just the nature of now. And people always ask me, when will this slow down? When will things chill out? When can I take a breather? And I say right now. Right now, they can. In this exact moment, you can choose to integrate peace. And that might mean turning this podcast off, and that's totally fine. That might mean canceling a plan that you had and going and sitting next to a tree. That might mean turning off all stimuli and just sitting in silence for 5 minutes. This world is not going to slow down anytime soon. And we need to choose ways and build systems to support our nervous systems, to support our bodies, to support our minds, our psyches as we navigate this change, to build resilience and structure and safety internally so that we can choose those pockets of peace. We're pushing the boundaries, just like Pluto is moving out of bounds over the next 10 years. We are pushing the boundaries of our individual and collective consciousness. And I think this Virgo new moon is giving us an opportunity to attune to what we really need in this moment. What practices, rituals, devotion can support this process of integrating and digesting all of what's coming at us all the time. And it's important to remember too that we have this beautiful Jupiter in Cancer inviting us into a deepening, exploring a sense of belonging internally. It's been so wild. I am surrounded by people going on ancestral pilgrimages, exploring their roots, talking about their ancestry, where they came from, their bones, their blood. It's actually been comical how much I'm seeing it all around me. Next year, I'm going on a pilgrimage to the homeland of my ancestors, to Norway. I've always been so drawn to ancestry, digging through old archives, following my family tree to Norway and France and the Netherlands and Scotland. And Jupiter just entered its shadow. So this is a wonderful time to connect with your roots, your fourth house, and more Cancer lands in your chart. This is a time to return to belonging. This doesn't mean you have to explore your ancestry. This doesn't mean you have to connect with your family necessarily, but What does belonging look like to you? What does home feel like to you? How can you tend to your roots, to nourishment, to remothering, to receiving? This week feels really important, really powerful, really supportive. If you can really just let yourself slow down and simplify and pay attention to what you really need in the moment and unhook from those dopamine hits, the addictive patterns, the escapism, all of that is Piscean shadow. I have my Untamed Elemental deck back, and the card that I pulled for this week is Root, and it's all about stabilization. Root is the starting point. He is the vast, unseen network of life that draws energy from the earth and creates a stable platform for life to grow and thrive. He offers a constant source of sustenance, connection, and communication. Root delves and twists, shares insight with his neighboring kin, and creating a strong community. As the most ancient and reliable anchor of planetary support, he guides us to grow stronger and more stable. Root asks you to establish firm foundations and develop a relationship with your own network of stabilization. He is the connecting force that carries all answers, so take stock. Are you receiving the right nourishment? Are your relationships loving and supportive? Are you drinking enough water, getting enough movement and sleep, breathing deeply? These pleasurable and achievable practices should be your starting point. An imbalance in one of them will translate to depletion in other areas of your life. Nurture your roots and watch your life blossom in miraculous ways. When it's balanced, you're flourishing, productive, effective. When it's imbalanced, you feel depleted, inefficient, stunted, and scattered. To bring into balance, explore nature in new ways while listening to your subtle body. Initiate self-inquiry in all that arises for you. And that was just pretty spot on, as it always is. It has some beautiful wisdom that I think relates to the energy of this week really well. So the invitation is to explore internally through your internal voice and channel what you need this week to feel nourished, supported, stabilized, what you can maybe incorporate this week throughout this month that supports your physical body, your mental body in processing what's to come. Thank you for being here. One of my favorite self-care pieces has been removing caffeine from my diet. It's made me more clear, more focused, less stimulated, less overwhelmed physically, mentally, emotionally. My favorite non-caffeinated beverage is Kamana, which is a mesquite, and it is so delicious. I brought it over to my friend's house, and my friends got to try it. They all loved it. We made cute little frothy drinks, which feel like coffee because I'm a non-coffee drinker, and I get FOMO around coffee drinkers or in a coffee shop, and this really hits the spot. I brought it to Europe with me. It's been so fun to travel with, and you can access the link in my the link in my show notes that has a discount code. I also have my red light box, which is another amazing self-care tool. Sitting in front of that daily has been such a huge game changer for me. My inflammation is significantly reduced. I'm noticing difference in my skin texture. It's just been so impactful. That's a huge discount for the Loom red light box. You get $260 off when you access that code, access the link that I have in the show notes. So thank you as always for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for showing up every week, for listening, and for processing with me. As always, take what resonates, leave what does not. I hope you have a beautiful new moon, and I'll see you next week.